Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Cruz and welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to talk about the Joyo Vintage Overdrive. Let's get it. This is episode 1 of a brand new series that I'm introducing onto the channel, and it's called Cheap Pedals Suck. Alright, let's be real. You guys know me. I am not a real negative person. I tend to try to find the good in everything. And more than likely, I'm going to be highlighting some of these pedals and talking about how some of them not only don't suck, but some of them are actually very good. And the first one on the list is a pedal that I've had for a very long time now, and that is the Joyo Vintage Overdrive. Those of you who follow my channel know that I am sort of a tube screamer snob, and it's my preferred overdrive style, even though I do love blues breakers and clon style pedals as well. Tube screamers seem to end up on my pedal board 9 times out of 10 more than the other styles. So it should be no surprise that at some point or another I eventually owned this vintage overdrive. So today I'm going to show you some tones that I get from this thing and go over some of the pros and cons and maybe convince you that this pedal may be fitting for some of your tonal needs. So first, let's go over some of the pros and just immediately start highlighting some of the tones that we get from this thing. Today I'm using my Fano SP6 with Mr. Fabulous Mini humbuckers in it. This is my clean sound. Now let's take a listen to the Vintage Overdrive at its lowest setting. I'm keeping the volume at about 3 o'clock because that's where it sort of matches for my particular setup right now. And the tone knob is at about 2 o'clock. We're gonna keep that one there. That's where, to my ear, it sounded its most sort of natural and what I look for in a tube screamer style pedal. But we're starting off with the overdrive at pretty much 0. So this is the natural gain of the pedal. Keep in mind too, I believe that the pedal brightens up a little bit the more you bring that gain up. So right now it's probably going to sound slightly darker than the pedal is meant to be. This is how I would use this pedal for sort of a first stage drive, and with this particular setting could be easily stackable with other overdrives to create a more overdriven type of sound. The beautiful thing about tube screamer style pedals is that they stack very, very well with other pedals and highlight mid-range frequency, which for me is important for cutting through a mix, especially when you start trying to tap into solo tones. In a live situation, you really couldn't ask for anything better. Now let me show you a different setting. Though we're going to keep the volume and tone as is, we're going to mess with the overdrive, and we're going to bring that overdrive to about 12 o'clock, so halfway. Let's see what that sounds like. One of the things I noticed immediately was that it gained up a lot more than I thought it could. The fact that it already has that amount of gain at only 12 o'clock shows me that there's either a lot more gain on tap or it's going to get really muddy very fast the more gain you add. So I'm curious to see what that now sounds like. So let's push this thing to put the gain up as far as it can go, and let's just see what we can get. I don't know that I ever pushed this pedal this far personally myself until today, and I can't believe the tones I'm getting from it. I actually think the saturation is really, really good, and it sounds like I'm tapping into like this sort of old school Marshall style distortion, that mid-range focus distortion thing. I think it sounds really, really great, and didn't expect it to sound this good at such a high gain. Very quickly, while I have this thing sitting on my pedal board, I think it would be a kind of a fun idea if we sort of compare it to other tube screamer style pedals. More specifically, I'm going to compare it directly with the Jackson Audio Broken Arrow, the green setting. I'm not going to try to tone match, but I'm just going to kind of go off of what I normally have set on my Broken Arrow already, put on the green setting at 50% of its gain, and see how it compares to the Vintage Overdrive at its 0 point. Out of curiosity, I want to show you how this thing could stack up. So I'm going to turn on the boost on the Broken Arrow side. So first let's hear the Broken Arrow overdrive with the boost on, and then we're going to hear the Vintage overdrive with the boost on. want to compare tones here, tone for tone, tone match at all, or I'm not trying to show you which one sounds better. I think what I'm trying to relate here is that either pedal can work, and it just depends on what you're looking for. In fact, I think that the Vintage Overdrive sounds very good in comparison, but the product isn't perfect. So let's talk about some of its cons. This is obviously a Chinese created pedal, right? Joyo's from China, and they have created a lot of pedals that are more affordable to the average guitar player. And they come out with pedals and tones that are familiar with more popular versions that are out there. Brand new, this pedal won't run you more than about $50. You usually could find it for $40, and used goes for about, on average, $20. So it's really hard to beat a pedal at this price point. But why is it so affordable? Well, there are some components in here that make it a little bit cheap. There's a lot of plastic being used even around the foot switch ring, which is scary because if you step on it hard enough, you could probably break this thing. Not to mention some of the cheaper components that are made internally. Like I find that sometimes, depending on the power source, this pedal is very noisy in comparison to other pedals that may be sitting on the same power source but not giving me nearly as much noise. But my biggest issue with this product has nothing to do with the product itself. It actually has to do with the fact that Ibanez released a Tube Screamer Mini that, quite honestly, probably sounds just as good, if not better. Higher quality components, much smaller in comparison, so much more pedal board friendly, and used, you can find this thing for about $40 to $50. So though it is a little more expensive than the Vintage Overdrive, you seem to be getting a much more higher quality and usable product. And when you compare them, even by just holding them in your hand, you can immediately tell that the Ibanez is a higher quality product. But the real question is, does this pedal suck? And the answer is absolutely not. It's actually amazing for what it is. I hate when people say it's great for the price because that just means that I'm getting what I'm paying for. No, what I want to know is it good in comparison to everything else? Personally, I believe it is. If you can get over the fact that it says Joyo on it and not Ibanez or Jackson Audio or any of the other major products that makes Tube Screamer-esque pedals, then you'll be fine. You're gonna be able to use this thing without any problems. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on this pedal. And also, if you have a suggestion or an idea for a pedal that should make it onto this series, it should fall under $100, brand new. That means retail for under $100. That's what I would consider to be affordable. I hate calling it cheap, but I gotta have some clickbait in there somehow, right? While you're in the comment section, please do all of the other things that could help this channel grow. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon so you get an alert every single time I upload a video. You can also check out some of the affiliate links in the description box. They do kick back to the channel just a little bit. There's also a donation link that you can donate directly to the channel if you choose to do so. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time.